I brought my little friend along, and he wanted to have some cheese with us.
He looks like
he may
needs
stay.
some.
He may have to leave. He doesn't wave. Just like waves.
He does. He just kind of, soft waves.
I just need like the leg hook, and then we just pull them out. There we go. Hello and welcome to Curdcast, the podcast for people who like to eat They like to eat cheese. I'm your host, Jen Mason, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Faye Fanbalzer. Hello, Julie. How are you today?
I am good. Apparently, I'm having a very good hair day, which is perfect for a podcast.
You are having a very good hair day, and it looks like you've been crazy productive in your art studio as well.
Yes, I've decided to stop trying to hide the mess. This is my mess.
This is great. During COVID times, I think we're rethinking about what is normal and what isn't. We're having to rethink our podcast yet again. Those of you watching this, I'm filming this just before I head out on a trip to Sicily. I'm not bragging. Okay, I'm bragging a little bit, but we're taking some of our customers to Sicily this week. We have to get it done now, and Facebook just crashed, which somehow crashed our whole entire podcast. And so now we're doing this via Zoom. So welcome to a Zoom video instead of our regular StreamYard video. We'll hopefully go back to that next month. Julie, this is in preparation for our, I love to do like a Halloween box-ish thing in October because the box arrives before Halloween, and hopefully people are going to be celebrating a little more this year in a safe way. But if not, a little bored. So this is like a sneak preview of our photo shoot we were doing today. Usually I just take a little bit, but this one's fun. I'm really excited for you to try this. And as an artist, you are usually concerned with how things look when you're trying to make them look good. And we are too, but this box is about flavor, but it's really about looks this time. This is my art. This is my art piece for you. So just like it all arrived. Did you notice anything different about this box?
Gosh, did I notice anything different about this
color?
box? I mean, all the cheeses are orange, which I have a prejudice against orange cheeses. I'm orange
hopefully
cheese
we'll turn it
prejudiced.
around. Yeah, well, I'm orange cheese agnostic, and so hopefully I'll guide you into the realm of. So far I think none of the orange cheeses that I've served you have you disliked. You've been surprised by them so
You
far.
have changed my mind. You've really knocked my prejudice out of the way, which has been upsetting because I've been orange cheese prejudiced now for many, many, many years. And suddenly I feel like, oh no, orange cheeses are good and they're not fake.
They're not fake. Well, these aren't. There are some that are fake. But so we have a really great selection today. And we really are eating with our eyes. So the theme behind this is really sort of a Halloween board. We'll sort of tell you why as we go along, but the cheeses are evident. We chose bright, beautiful cheeses. And we chose some that, we have a blue on the plate this time, which can be alienating. So if you have anybody dressed up as aliens, they'll want to eat that one. And some other ones that are really friendly. So this could be a good family board as well. So I think we should start with our first cheese, which is the Robin. And that is the one that is, you have yours labeled. That's
I finally have
the middle. Yes, that is the one. So I've cut these into beautiful triangles because my piece came in just this nice shape. This is pasteurized cow's milk. And it is actually, this is what Colby was supposed to taste like. This is what the Colby that was invented in the 1950s was supposed to taste like, but disappeared.
This is so good. This is like, I don't think I've ever said this about a cheese. It's buttery.
It is. It really is.
This is a fine
super friendly.
Cheese.
Gonna go with anything you want to pair with it. You have to stop eating it so that you can pair it with other things.
No, eat more of it.
So So this has got a little bit more, people are watching the video, a little bit more of like an open texture. Basically, you see cracks. If you look at like a commercially made Colby, it's really like a solid block of cheese. And you know, people like Colby, there's nothing wrong with it, but this kind of make disappeared for a while, and this is made by Deer Creek in Wisconsin. All three cheeses
Why did
today.
it disappear? Did it just come out of fashion? Is it harder to make? Is it?
So I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes. It just was that it started becoming more commercially made. It became more popular, therefore more commercially made, therefore sort of it lost its love, which is kind of like what happened to Munster cheese too. Real Munster is a stinky, delicious cheese, and Munster in the US is very it's creamy, but it's commodity cheese now. It has no funk to it. The little bit of the orange rind that you see around it is sprayed on. It is not reminiscent of the Munster that you get in Europe. So this is beautiful. This actually got last year got second place in the World Championship cheese contest, and in 2019 it got first place. It got best in class in the American Cheese Society. So we're not the only ones who like this.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I could just eat this like a bar of chocolate right now, just like right here. It's so good.
You can, we could just pause the video so you can do that. Okay, but let's let you try another one. So
okay,
our next one here, Harvest Moon. And
that feels like an appropriate name for a Halloween box.
It is, and it's round, so your piece should be I assume yours is sort of a rounded. It is.
Mine has it's got curves, baby.
So this is Harvest Moon by Five Spoke Creamery, made about 57 miles north of New York City. This is about 9 months old, and this is sort of their answer to Mimolette, which in 2013 we couldn't have Mimolette in the US anymore.
Why?
And I believe, if I remember correctly, it had to do with the fact that they used cheese mites to make the outer rind, and so they wouldn't let it in. We can now get it again, which is great. But
hold on, what are cheese mites?
They're little cheese bugs. So if you've ever seen a thing of Mimolette, we're talking about a different cheese, you've had it. It looks like a cantaloupe.
Okay.
And so it gets a really, I mean, it looks a lot like this taste wise, but then it gets a really thick, the older it's aged, rind. And cheese mites eat the rind a little bit and allow air, and clean them all off. But they sort of make a special coating for this cheese, Mimolette. Lots of people have had it. They don't know that. It looks like a cantaloupe cheese, but for a little while there, we couldn't get it in the States.
So are the mites gone by the time you get the cheese?
Yes. But they're mites on like cloth bound cheddars. It's part of the reason why they're cloth bound, is to keep the bugs out.
I mean, there are mites on your eyelashes right now while we're talking and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm not afraid of mites, but I just find it fascinating that like that they're there, that this whole thing that they clearly got banned from the US because people didn't want the mites and all that kind of stuff. It's just so interesting.
Yeah, it is. Cheese is fascinating. She's fascinating. So what do you think of this one?
I like it. It's salty. So like I definitely notice it on the tip of my tongue. Like the salt is sort of the first thing I take in. And then it has I'm surprised because as hard cheeses, I rarely think of having any funk. And it has just the slightest little funk in it that makes it a little more interesting than just like, you know, an orange cheese.
I would agree. And I think, you know, it's, I like the texture. So even at room temperature, it's got it's still pliable, but it's firm still. Whereas the Robin by Deer Creek, the Colby one, which is called the Robin, is much softer. Like your teeth just like melt through it. Like you said, like butter. All right, so if we want to go a little funkier, which I do, I think it's time to try some Shropshire Blue. And this is made by,
I just want you to know, when I was
yeah.
reading the labels last night to my mother while I was unpacking the bag and she was over for dinner, I said Shropshire and she was like, Shropshire.
Shropshire.
So I have no idea if she's right or not, but since she corrects me about everything else, I just thought I would throw that in there.
I think it probably is Shropshire. And the funny thing is that it comes from the town of Nottinghamshire. I think it's always funny when you see, no offense to our Brit friends, but when you see them make fun of like somebody's trying to say what town they're from, but they don't really know, so they're making it up that they live in London and they live in the UK and they just keep adding endings, Trotter, Shropshire, Shotton, Easton. So I thought Nottinghamshire. Again, another cow, all three cows, all three cheeses are microbial rennet, so they're all vegetarian cheeses today. They all have annatto in it, but they all taste very different. So
this one's amazeballs. Like,
yeah.
This is definitely like, put it on a dessert plate because it has that kind of like really rich, like almost like when you eat something so chocolatey that you're like, oh, I can't eat more than like a bite or two of this. Like, this one's crazy. Like, my mouth is watering after eating it. Like, it's such an interesting blue. It has all that sort of ammonia that blue cheeses have, but without some of the really strong like aftertaste in your mouth where you're like, what is that? I don't know. This is a rich one. Like, this is one that, as delicious as it is, I don't think I could be like, it really needs a pairing.
Yeah, it really does. I think this is a fantastic cheese. I get a little bit of, if you told me I'd also been eating peanut, in the shell, roasted peanuts at the same time, I get a little bit of that. I would be like, oh yeah, did I have peanuts? I feel like I've had peanuts in my mouth too. There's a little bit of that nuttiness to it, which is always surprising when you're eating a cheese that is not terribly hard. Usually I get nuttier flavors when we're dealing with firmer cheeses. This is a great cheese to crumble. Some blue cheeses are too soft and you go to crumble them, like you want to put them on a sirloin tip salad or something fancy and you want to crumble blue cheese on it. This is a really good one and would look really gorgeous. Especially now that, the heirloom tomatoes where you could just like add color to your plate by choosing all different colors. Tomatoes is going away. We could add color with this. I love Shropshire Blue because it's beautiful, and like we've talked before about the orange cheeses, it's essentially like an orange Stilton. It's a very similar make process. I think there's only 3 companies that are making it right now. This one is made by Crockwell Bishop Creamery. They're all in Nottinghamshire, but I think that on a platter at any time, in the holidays, in the summer, whatever, if you have all like white, off-white, creamy cheeses, it's just so beautiful on the cheese plate. It just adds a beautiful pop of color, and it is so good. I would be really upset if it wasn't good. I would not suggest it if it wasn't good, but I've been wanting to put this one in, and I knew we were going to save it for a Halloween box. Also, it just feels like a good cheese I want to eat when it's starting to get cold, and yeah, I think that this is going to be really great.
So I just thought of the equivalent of Nottinghamshire in our area, which is like when people say Newton Village.
Yes.
Right? Because it's New Town Village, Newton Village. And that's the same thing as, right, Nottingham, meaning ham, hamlet, or like village. Right. So there you go. It's the Newton Village of England.
So smart. You're so smart. Okay, so it's time for us to pair, if you're ready. Okay, so we have 3 sort of pairings, and I want to start with this guy. So this is a charcoal cracker, and they are made by the Fine Cheese Company.
Appetizing to me.
So that is again why we've been wanting to put these in a Halloween box, because one, they're beautiful. Like, look at that on, I mean, just like look at that on there. So they're actually a butter cracker. I'd let you give it a taste. I think if you ate this with your eyes closed, you would never guess what color it was.
Does not taste like charcoal.
Right? It's very interesting.
In my defense, it says on the box charcoal squares.
Yes.
And I was like, what is Jen
What did she
making me
pick out
eat?
this time?
What is she making me eat? But no, it tastes like a cracker.
I mean, charcoal is like the hot thing. You can go to bakeries and get charcoal cupcakes, and
Really?
supposedly there are some health benefits. As one of our employees said today, I don't know about the health benefits of charcoal, eating charcoal, but these crackers look so like metal. That's what she said. Very cool. So again, this board, I guess you could say the theme, I know it's supposed to be Halloween, but it is also, we're eating with our eyes for this board. And so the charcoal seemed perfect because yes, they taste good. They're a great pairing, but they are magic with the cheeses. And I think when you bring it on a board, people will be excited by it. So, you're cool with them. You're cool with eating charcoal. I can tell everybody.
Tastes like a cracker.
Eats charcoal. Julie
Tastes
eats
like a
charcoal.
cracker. Well, I think it'll also be a really good, as after all, they say charcoal neutralizes things. It'll be really good and interesting to see it with the blue.
Yes, I think so too. I think so too. So we have another pairing here. I don't know if you looked at what it is, but this is white pumpkin and almond maraba. And maraba refers to a sweet fruit preserve. It comes from the Arabic. This is made by Naomi Mobed. She basically was looking for more interesting options in what we poorly term, the ethnic section, instead of just really good food from all over being all mixed in. And they make beautiful things. This is made, the name of the company is Le Bon Nego, which I looked up, yes, means the hidden treasure. But I loved it because it was white pumpkin. So we're having pumpkin in our Halloween platter.
Smells
Kind of why I chose this.
amazing. Now that I finally got the jar open, it smells like cinnamon. It just smells amazing.
It smells so good. I'm having to eat it on my cracker. But yeah, I had mine open here as I was getting set up, and I was like, I need to make it to that pairing because it's so good.
Oh my gosh. It's so good. In a funny way, the flavor profile reminds me a little bit of Proset. Did you have it like
it does.
Passover? Which is like almonds, cinnamon, wine, apricots, apples. Like it's a little bit like that. It's really, really
I was
good.
trying to figure out what it reminded me of, and that is what it is. It's really kind of spectacular, but I love that we're having pumpkin on a plate. And I love what these guys do. They make so many delicious, I would definitely look them up, Le Bon Nego, and look at what else they have because they're all pretty fantastic.
Well, this is also such a perfect choice for a Halloween box because now you've got your sweet.
Yes. Well, we have one more sweet.
Yes.
But stop here because I have to go grab mine. I forgot to put mine on my plate.
Well, then I will just hold this big disc of chocolate. I mean, the second I saw this come out of the box, and first of all, it's a pretty wrapper, which I'm obviously going to keep and like put into my art journal and stuff. But oh yeah, salted almond. You couldn't have picked a better flavor, Jen. I love it. I haven't even tried it and I love it.
I think it's great too. And I love that I have headphones in while we do this podcast, everybody. And listen, Julie and I are real. I shot this earlier and
disorganized.
I have to put this on. Okay, so this is Taza chocolate. And it's a Mexican style chocolate, but it's made here. It's actually made here in Boston. And Mexican style chocolate. So they basically process the cocoa beans down when they're making chocolate down to a chocolate chocolate liquor is what it's called. And then they would add sugar to it. But what they do is they only take it down to a coarse grind, and you get a different texture. And, in Mexico where chocolate was eaten, it wasn't meant to be eaten. It was meant to be made into drinks, into a hot chocolate. So if you've seen Mexican hot chocolate on a menu, this is what they're talking about. So it makes a very thick, rich chocolate. So what do you think? What I like this because unlike a regular chocolate, which I like all regular chocolates too, it adds a different texture to this. It makes it feel like a grown-up chocolate on a dessert plate.
It's just so
Pretty,
beautiful. I mean, like, that's
right?
number one. It smells
Yes.
outrageous. I did notice on the label that it says 44% dark, which is good because I find that, once you get over 60% dark, it starts to get bitter for me into the kind of like wine coffee range, which some people like and some don't. I'm amazed how this perfectly breaks into little wedges. That's amazing. I also find it hilarious that there's an expiration date on here, like chocolate ever sits anywhere, but okay.
Just in case a box got lost somewhere, I guess.
I guess.
Silly people. I'd probably have to fire somebody. It just gives you that little extra mouth feel. I like the crunchiness in my teeth. I know some people aren't a fan of Mexican chocolate, but I think Taza has converted a ton of people into thinking new ways about it. And the fact that this has the salted almond, this is just, I love this chocolate.
Yeah, it's grainy. Like the texture is kind of grainy. And if you're not used to it, you're like, why is it grainy? That's weird. Also, I think we're used to a lot of times when you see salted almonds, you expect to see like big pieces of almond sitting on top of it instead of it being sort of integrated in it, so that it's only a flavor profile you're getting, not actually the like lumpy bumpy sort of Ben and Jerry style add-in.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So we have our chocolate too. So we have our sweet, but we also have like real chocolate because this is meant to be Halloween. So we can't not have chocolate on a plate. So we should do a little pairing and see.
Let's do
what you like. I am looking forward to
one. I'm gonna start with the blue.
Yes.
I feel like you got to start at the top. Start at the blue. I'm gonna give myself a cracker, a blue, and some of the muraba. Is that how we pronounce it?
That's how you say it. Yep.
And then that is a very fine bite between the cracker and the muraba. It takes so much of the sting out of the blue, yet you still have the wonderful flavor.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
It's very good.
Although I'm really thinking with this box, there aren't a lot of ways you can go wrong.
Well, if we did our job correctly, that's the plan.
That's true. This is a particularly spectacular combination of things. I'm going back to the robin now.
Nice.
So my theory is that the robin, because it's so buttery and delicious, is going to be really interesting with the muraba, which is so sweet. And it will almost go, I feel like, in a dessert space.
I think you could make like a little toast with this muraba, like a dessert toast. It would be so good. And
then I wonder about the harvest moon with the chocolate, because I feel like the salt.
I just had that. It's fantastic.
How was it?
It was very good.
Fine combination. Butter chocolate, butter cheese. It's a nice combo. You know, I would never really have thought of chocolate and cheese together until I met you. Like of actually putting them in my mouth at the same time. But
sorry, not sorry. Pretty fantastic. So, I mean, I know our plates aren't going to last until Halloween, but I hope everybody who's listening along, and I forgot our whole thing at the beginning, which is, by the way, the reason you're here is because we make Curdbox.com. And every month we ship out to your door sort of a cheese and pairing discovery box. 3 cheeses, 3 pairings, all revolve around a story. This month is Fright Festo, and Julie hangs out with me every month, and we talk through this. And she asks me good questions, and I forget to say things like this, and I forget to put my chocolate on my plate. And it's all very real. Curdbox is sort of a dream of mine. It's the way that we get to send our cheese and pairing ideas out over the whole US. I wish the whole world, but customs would make it so that the cheese was all bad by the time you got it. So if you're watching this from outside of the country, I'm sorry, come visit. Yeah, if you're looking for discovery, you're looking for something new, you want to try to eat less boring, you know, if you're like me, I'm always like pinning things on Pinterest and putting things on Facebook and Instagram, and then I put the same thing in my shopping cart every week. So this is our answer to that, to help people live less boring, stop eating boring. What do you think? Any last words on this platter, Julie?
This is a really good one. And I will just say, because I think it's important to say, like, I consider myself a sort of medium adventurous eater, meaning I'll eat most things, but like, I'm not going to eat bugs. That's not in my personal comfort level.
Yep.
Although maybe if it shows up in a Curdbox, I'll change. You never know. But what I really find is that I do have food prejudices, though, of the way that I expect things to be based on how they look or what I've heard or like my previous experience. And the thing that Curdbox does is it always changes those expectations and transforms the way that I think about it. And I think the pairings to me are always so interesting because that again transforms. And it just reminds me how much food is supposed to be fun. Yeah. And eating is supposed to be playful and enjoyable. And that's a wonderful thing.
It is. I love doing it. I love it when somebody reaches out to me after the box and was like, oh my gosh, I never thought this, or I never tried that, or I went and found it again, or I tried things. You know, it's like when I go to book club and you all fall in love with the book and then you like want to read more books by that person. So like go discover like new cheesemakers and new pairing makers, and think about eating with our eyes and eating with our feelings and our thoughts and whatever. I don't mean to get like too funky, but like that's how every box is themed. And so sometimes it's like a comfort thing, and sometimes it's just fun like this, and sometimes it's like, let's discover one flavor profile. It's just you're right, eating good food should be fun. Yeah. Eating food should be fun, and I think we should do more of it. Okay, so if you guys want to follow Julie, you can follow Julie at What Julie ate. Julie, since they see your art, do you want to tell them what the best handle is for her real life when she's not just hanging out with cheese and me, when she's working in that studio?
Oh, you can find me anywhere on the internet at Balzer Designs.
Balzer. Go find her. She's got tons of videos, lots of everything. If you're looking to be artsy, she's your gal. If you want to know more about Harvest Moon or Five Spoke Creamery, that's these guys. You want to go to the number 5_spoke_ creamery. If you want to know more about Deer Creek, it's at Deer Creek Cheese. They're our Colby friends. And if you want to know more about Cropwell Bishop Creamery in Nottinghamshire, it's at Cropwell Bishop Creamery. Our charcoal squares came from the Fine Cheese Co. At the Fine Cheese Co. And let's see, our pumpkin came from at Lebon Magot, LEBON MAGOT. And Taza is at Taza Chocolate, TAZA Chocolate. And as always, you can follow us at Curdbox. You can go to curdbox.com and get your own, and you can eat along with Julie and I next month. It's been so great to see you. Wait till you see what we've got for November. Really excited about that theme story that we've put together. We're getting the stuff now, getting it all ready. Can't wait. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your cheese. Have a happy Halloween if you celebrate. And Julie, thanks again. Always lovely to eat cheese with you. Bye, everybody.